Welcome to the Palo Alto Network's Firewall. This is the course introduction. This is the place that we get started along our journey to have a wonderful time with some cool new security devices. So welcome to the world of Palo Alto. We've got lots of things that can happen. You know, network security, one of those big deals. Palo Alto Networks, of course, have what they call their next generation firewall. I know it's a marketing term. We hear that lots of different times, but there's a lot of cool things they really are doing to help make our security better. So if nothing else, it's good to be familiar with this stuff as you work through and, enhance your job, enhance your company's network, enhance your reputation for knowing the things that are going on. So a lot of this is, it's a course introduction, right? Welcome to the world of Palo Alto. Well, what am I going to expect in here? Honestly, I would expect to learn a lot of information, but most importantly, we're going to take a firewall and we're going to learn the steps of implementation. Okay, so we'll say firewall steps to implement. Now we've broken this all, nicely down. You can look at the video outlines, and we'll see all sorts of things from, administration and management, and interface configuration, layer 3 configuration, app ID, content ID, user ID, decryption, VPN, high availability, and panorama. So we're going to, cover the whole gambit of things, and there's reasons for that I'll get to. But the big part is, as we step through and as we go through, step 1 and 2 and so on and so forth, the key thing is you could put a firewall in your network and you can watch these videos and learn a few things and play around a little bit, and you could get the security of your network, your users, all set up from it. That's going to be kind of the cool thing, is we have not only the ability to learn something along the way, but also to truly see it and do it. Okay, hear it, learn it, see it, do it kind of an idea as far as keeping the information inside your head. Now, what you're going to do with it afterwards is completely up to you. So you can be the great security administrator of this network or many networks if you're a consultant and do all sorts of great things with it. That's awesome. The next step you might want to look at, though, is the world of certifications, because there are a couple of things going on in there. So we have two primary certifications. We have the ACE and we have the CNSE, and I'll kind of put a ... there because that's actually changing a little bit. So ACE is my beginning level. Okay, this is what we call, the Accredited Configuration Engineer. And this is kind of going to go through, and the objective of it is to see whether or not you know what you're talking about, is to see whether or not you can actually administer a Palo Alto Networks firewall, to have an idea as to what's going on with it. Now, the cool thing is, from a certification standpoint, I hesitate to use the word easy, because that's really not what I'm trying to get to. It's not particularly easy. It's readily available. That'll be a good word for it, because you can take this exam online, on the web. Okay, so you just go to Palo Alto's website under Services and Education, and you'll find the links for the ACE there, and you can click on it and go take an exam at that point. So that makes it kind of nice that you can have, more or less instant gratification, if you know what you're doing anyway, and be able to pass the exam and go through them. Okay, so that's kind of a cool part for it. So like I said, it is web-based. There are 50 multiple-choice questions that you will get asked at that point in time, and it's not timed, so that makes it more relaxing, I guess, is kind of a good way of viewing it. And again, I don't want to make this sound like it's an easy thing, because believe it or not, I've known many good security people who've actually failed this exam. So certainly don't take it personally, but I will tell you that everything that we're going to cover in this course will absolutely positively prepare you for the ACE examination. Now, the CNSE is a little bit different. That's we'll call it the step up, but it's the larger one. Okay, so CNSE is a certified network security engineer. Now, there's a couple interesting things with the CNSE. First of all, it's tied to a specific version of software, specific train of software. Okay, so as an example, what mine is in, I have the CNSE 5. Okay, which was actually tested on 5.1 software. If you could have, a 4.x, kind of a 5.x, whatever one's going on there. Now, I put the ... over here because as of version 6, things changed a little bit. I guess they wanted to be a little bit more specific than just network security engineer, because that really is a Palo Alto exam. So now this has evolved into the PCNSE. And even though you're always tested on the .1 version of software, so not the latest and greatest stuff, but at least make sure that we're stabilized, but they are only calling it based on the major train. So a PCNSE 6 will be really the next iteration of this, and the exams just got released for that, so it's all fairly fresh at that standpoint. Now, a little bit difference in terms of how this particular exam is handled. Okay? So this exam, you've got to go to a testing center, just like you do for any of your other major network vendor exams. So stuff you're probably used to. I mean, even the CompTIA stuff we do that with. However, it is not the same testing centers you're probably used to. Okay? So they use a company called Criterion. So you might want to look that up. And again, if you go to Palo Alto Networks and under Services and Education, there'll be links there. So you can see all that information as far as, registering for an ID, see where the testing centers are and stuff like that. But depending on where you're at, it may be a little bit more difficult to find a Criterion testing center versus the View or the Prometric ones that we might be used to. Okay? Like I know in my town, I only have one Criterion center, and it actually only has one computer, so it's a little bit more competitive in terms of choosing seats and stuff. So do be aware of that as you go through things. Okay? But the tests are a little bit different for it as well. Let me change my color on this here real quick. If I'm taking the 5.1 exam, so if you've been doing firewalls and stuff for a while, that might be a good thing. That is going to be 100 questions over 2.5 hours. So that may be a little intimidating on there. If I'm going to do the, we'll say the 6 version, the PCNSE 6 version of things, that is 60 questions over 1.5 hours. And this is in a closed testing environment, so not open book, not no reference materials, no nothing like that. Only the things that are in your head. So a little bit, I guess, to prepare for or think about as you go through here. Now, the stuff that we're doing, the stuff that we're all going to be using both in the firewall and in Panorama, the network management, everything that's going to be covered on here from your examination standpoint is going to be at version 6. Okay, so that will give you a great head start for looking at these things. Now, furthermore, what I would also recommend doing is, like I said, to go to the Palo Alto website, and then Services, then Education. And underneath there, we will find that CNSE link for the exam, and there are some study guides on there. Now, study guides being loosely determined for things. The version 5.1, I think, was like 60 pages or something like that. The version 6.1 is viewed more as an addendum, and it's only like 24 pages. So it's still not a huge amount of material. They have courses and stuff that they certainly recommend that you go through to kind of get to it, and as well as having your own machines to be able to administer and get hands-on with. That's kind of the key part, is to be able to learn the concepts, implement the concepts, see things in action, and understand how the flows for everything work. That being said, a lot of the demonstrations and stuff that we go through in here, you and I are going to have kind of a good time sitting down and doing exactly that. So we're going to see that information for us. But when we get down to it, pick which exam you're going to take, and your certification, whether a CNSE 5.1 or a PCNSE 6, will actually be determined based on what you've done. So no, I've already done the 5.1. I did that a couple years ago. I probably will go ahead and take the PCNEC 6, just kind of add to it, keep my certifications current. But technically at that point in time, I'll have 2 separate Palo Alto certifications. So they don't view it as a research kind of idea. It's seen as 2 completely separate things to be specific by the version number that's on there. So interesting things to think about, but everything that we go through on here will certainly help you get along that way, and I look forward to some of the other nuggets, the courses that we're going to be developing along the lines with Palo Alto Networks as well. We're just getting started here with the fun stuff, working around the wonderful world of the PAN-OS, the Palo Alto Networks operating system, and we talked really about what this course is going to deliver to you in terms of helping prepare you for the ACE certification, the Accredited Configuration Engineer, and the CNSE/PCNSE, which basically is Palo Alto Networks Certified Network Security Engineer. So all the certifications that we can do, but most importantly, it's going to get you familiar with the firewalls themselves and all the topics and everything else in order to allow you to successfully implement security to your networks. I hope this has been informative for you, and I certainly look forward to you entertaining you and educating you throughout this course.